Good day, here are today's top stories from the Pna Headlines. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. met with several leaders to strengthen ties with their respective countries on the sidelines of the 46th Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. President Marcos and Prime Minister Sonicsay Siphandone of Laos held a bilateral meeting on Monday where they committed to further strengthen cooperation in key sectors, including trade, education, security, agriculture, and digital technology. The two leaders agreed to elevate their partnership for greater connectivity, resilience, and economic growth. Marcos likewise raised the idea of direct flights between Manila and Vientiane to support tourism. For his part, Siphandone hailed the contributions of the Filipino community in Laos, particularly in education, research, and architecture. He thanked the Philippine government for supporting Lao ministries through scholarships and language training. He also welcomed more Filipino investments in clean energy, health services, infrastructure, and other key sectors. The Philippines and Laos mark the 70 years of diplomatic relations. Meanwhile, President Marcos Jr. and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh expressed openness to elevate these strategic partnerships of their countries into a comprehensive strategic partnership. Marcos reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to strengthen diplomatic ties with Vietnam. The Vietnamese Prime Minister also acknowledged the remarkable progress in their relations since Marcos visited Vietnam in January 2024. The Philippines and Vietnam are commemorating the 10th anniversary of their strategic partnership. And at the same time, the two leaders recognized expanding economic and trade cooperation between the Philippines and Vietnam and agreed to strengthen collaboration in agriculture, food security, and people-to-people exchanges in education, tourism, and cultural engagement. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. affirmed the need for greater cooperation to achieve prosperity for the Brunei Darussalam Indonesia Malaysia Philippines East ASEAN Growth Area, or BIMP-EAGA. The president made the statement as chair of the 16th BIMP-EAGA Summit held on Tuesday at the sidelines of the 46th ASEAN Summit. In his opening remarks, Marcos said the path ahead calls for an even greater synergy, innovation, and political will to leave a meaningful impact on the lives of the people. Marcos noted significant progress since the adoption of the BIMP-EAGA Vision 2025, saying they have laid down stronger foundations for inclusive, sustainable, and innovation-driven growth. Marcos, meanwhile, hailed the sub-region's strong commitment to bridging the development gap through joint efforts in major sectors such as trade and investment, connectivity, ecotourism, food and energy security. He also affirmed their shared vision towards a prosperous BIMP-EAGA. The BIMP-EAGA initiative was launched in 1994 to boost growth among the four participating countries through trade, investments, and tourism.
The path ahead calls for even greater synergy, innovation, and political will. I am confident that through our cooperation, we will continue to transform these aspirations that we have held into lasting impact for our peoples.
In other news, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, recorded a total of 1,112 traffic violations on the first day of the resumption of the No Contact Apprehension Policy, or NCAP, on Monday. The MMDA said the total number is lower compared to the over 3,000 recorded last year, when NCAP was still suspended due to a temporary restraining order. This was also lower compared to those on May 19, when they recorded 3,900 plus violations without the NCAP. MMDA Traffic Enforcement Group Director Vic Nunez said among the common violations caught under NCAP were disregard of traffic signs, illegal use of the EDSA busway and the motorcycle lanes, and disregard of loading and unloading areas. Meanwhile, the MMDA warned the public not to click a supposed link where motorists may check if they have NCAP-related violations. The MMDA said it is still organizing the NCAP website. The Supreme Court partially lifted the TRO issued against the NCAP in August 2022, allowing only the MMDA to implement the program in major thoroughfares in the National Capital Region or NCR. The Department of Agriculture underscored the need to restore the regulatory powers of the National Food Authority or NFA to help enforce a possible floor price for palay. DA Secretary Francisco Laurel said the regulatory powers of the NFA will help secure the registry of both farmers and traders in the country for monitoring. He said these powers would protect farmers from unscrupulous traders. He also reiterated that the restoration of NFA powers may also allow them to sell in local markets to protect consumers from spiking retail prices. The DA made the statement amid an ongoing study on the feasibility of setting a state-imposed minimum price for palay under the said law. Laurel said the floor price must at least cover the production cost of palay farmers. Moving on to our business news, the Philippines and Hong Kong Special Administrative Region have started initial negotiations for the Comprehensive Avoidance of Double Taxation Agreement or DTA. Bureau of Internal Revenue Commissioner Romeo Lumagi Jr. and Hong Kong SAR Inland Revenue Department Commissioner Benjamin Chan Se-Wai led the first round of talks held in Hong Kong on May 21st to 23rd. The BIR said they discussed key provisions including mechanisms to prevent double taxation, tax relief measures, and frameworks for mutual cooperation. The Philippines and Hong Kong are set to schedule a second round of negotiations. The DTA aims to prevent double taxation on income earned in the Philippines and Cambodia, prevent tax evasion, and enhance economic cooperation. Meanwhile, the Philippine Nickel Industry Association or PNIA welcomed the appointment of Secretary Rafael Lotilla to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. In a statement, PNIA hailed Lotilla's experience in public policy, sustainable development, and regulatory governance. They expressed confidence that he could advocate responsible mining practices and reinforce the role of the mineral sector in national growth. The PNIA said it is looking forward to working with Lotilla to push further towards a more predictable, science-informed, and investment-ready regulatory environment. And those are the latest and the biggest stories from the Pna Headlines. For more news updates, visit our website pna.gov.ph or our Facebook and X account, Philippine News Agency. The Pna Headlines is also streamed via the Servicio Facebook page. You may also watch the Pna Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account and via the News and Information Bureau website under PNA News. I am William Theo. This is the Pna Headlines, bringing you stories that unite the nation.